welcome to Cosmic Dia. I'm Cara, and this is a podcast where we explore astrology, tarot, working with our plant ancestors, and healing in community. Thank you so much for being here. I learned astrology, energy work, crystals, all things magical from my tias, my mom's sisters. All of the energy here is always in honor of our ancestors and the tias who came before us. So setting up my intentions to just connect with the natural world, the cosmos, flow as a conduit. Feel free to set your intentions too, whatever those might be, as we work together. I'm going to treat these podcasts as a bit of what my readings are like. I do a lot of readings every day where I connect with people one-on-one. And so this is what it looks like working together, setting our intentions together. And I chose crystals and some tools as we explore the year ahead. Most of my readings, we look at what's next, big picture, year ahead, and then returning, we work quarterly or monthly on what that looks like for your birth chart. Starting with that intentions of connecting with our ancestors and the natural world, inviting in the patterns. Let's look at the numerology and the tarot and some of the big transits for the year ahead. When it's a new year, it's the middle of winter, so I think we should be gentle and kind to ourselves and move the goalpost accordingly, because in winter, that's not the best time to produce and to bloom, to blossom. This is a great time to tend to our roots, and what does that look like right now? What do you need right now, mind, body, and spirit? Personally, I started the year super sick. I thought, I was going to be productive. I had all these big goals starting the new year, and then I was down and out for like 2 to 3 weeks. And I think, so many of us, so many things happening in the world right now collectively. We might be moving slowly, and hopefully we're tending to our bodies and our needs and our rest. And for me, I've been focusing on nurturing nourishment as well and building strength. As recovering from being sick, I'm definitely now focusing on what I need to eat, and been taking a lot of yoga and bar Pilates classes just to build strength in a lot of different ways. Mind, body, and spirit is important. Little things like that, inviting in the plant ancestors. I've been drinking a lot of tea to take care of myself so I can show up and do my readings and, pour into others. First, I have to pour into myself. So that looks like a lot of tea. Tea as medicine, working with the plant ancestors as medicines. Sometimes it's tinctures and supplements. Just eating colorful foods, following my intuition, what's in season. We all, have different approaches, but building a relationship to the land and what's in season and nourishment of the body. I also see it astrologically with asteroids. I think of Ceres, all of these topics, the goddess of vegetation. So there's so many different ways to build a relationship with astrology and the natural world. But how is it showing up for you right now? And so let's look at 2025's numerology. 2025's numerology is a year 9. That is, in tarot, the 9th card is the Hermit. And the Hermit represents self-mastery and Virgo. And so I think it's so interesting that just thinking, numerology, this is a 9-year process of ripeness and completion on so many levels. Considering Virgo, the South Node just entered Virgo. We start the year with the South Node entering Virgo. The South Node is where eclipses happen. That brings change, surrendering, release, letting go. So there is a letting go of some of the details, Virgo's details ruled by Mercury, Mercury's communication, exchanging information, the details, the messages. So knowing that we are having a 9-year, and while a 9 represents cycle of endings, it's an opportunity to build a relationship with your intuition and to channel your energy to express yourself. Because thinking about some of the astrology coming up with the year ahead, we'll have to take direction, we'll have to charge ahead. So what does that look like? Mind, body, and spirit, building that connection to self-mastery. And Virgo also connects us to the land. And so there's that connection to nourishment, stewardship of the people who protecting farmers' rights, protecting and thinking about what's happening to, the Latino community right now in the United States. That's definitely a topic of focus. How can we protect those who protect the land and, steward that land and the food? They represent such a huge part of our country and our existence. So I think we have to protect those. And so how do we do that? What does that look like? Speaking up, getting educated, finding organizations that might have more answers than me. It's definitely step one. But it's interesting to see it in the stars and then to also see it just collectively in what's happening around us. So big things to explore and to learn more about. Fuck ICE, abolish ICE. So there's a connection to healing trauma here, to, accepting, to trusting the earth, the land, providing and protecting those who provide from the land as well, stewarding that connection. And remembering mistakes are part of the process, but how do we put forth the work for there to be a safe, organized, clean harvest? And that's the idea with Virgo, the harvest, the South Node entering in, focus on, what's available to you, what are your resources, your unique gifts, considering the themes like climate crisis, grief, human rights, and ending violence. So caring for the community looks differently to us all, but reflecting on your chart, reflecting on embracing your artistic freedom. How can you embody the energy of your artistic practice, creation? What are your goals? For example, some of mine right now are building strength, sustaining my health, mind, body, and spirit, in order to pour into community, healing in community, storytelling, building a relationship with my Virgo house, which is my 10th house, life's work, world stage, legacy. I think a lot of our Virgo energy, I have a Virgo Venus. A lot of the people I talk to have Virgo Venus, and I have a Jupiter Venus as well. MC Jupiter Venus, all Virgo. Keeping that in mind, personally with the South Node moving in, I'm going to release perfectionism and express myself. I think it can be hard to be seen for so many reasons. I think we can relate. But I think the work we're here to do is bigger than that. So showing up, being seen, being witnessed, knowing that I'll make mistakes and, releasing any judgment. So just showing up and knowing that it's a part of the work, my 10th house, life's work, world stage, legacy, and healing with nature and community. I'm so obsessed with this planner. Let's plan our year ahead using astrology, tarot, and plant magic. One of my favorite tools while planning the year ahead has been working with a planner, an almanac, something that shows the dates of the eclipses and the ingresses and where the moon is. I think that's really important when planning your year ahead. What is the moon doing? What's happening in your chart? Planning with, if it's going to rain, don't plan a picnic. And so just, reflecting the patterns. There's thousands of years of data and evidence. So I'm obsessed with this Mini Moons Planner and Almanac. They reached out to me, and I'm so grateful they did because this thing is brilliant. It is definitely designed by multiple astrologers, and the essays are my favorite part. Read to you a quote. Willpower is when you decide mentally, physically, emotionally, and intuitively with a sense of internal clarity to get on board with your deepest desires and needs. It's often easier to start with one small desire, like getting more rest, than it is to do an entire overhaul. Choose a small but powerful change to make this week that will start a domino effect of positivity from your willpower. Keep those promises. Willpower is also about doing what needs to get done without additional stress. Reflect on the month, reflect on your tarot pulls, synchronicities, rituals, and other magic. If you're watching and you subscribe on YouTube and my email list, I'm going to give away one of these planners. So subscribe on YouTube and join my email newsletter mailing list to enter the giveaway. Let me know if you have any questions. One of my favorite things about this is that it incorporates tarot and it asks you to pull a card for the year. So let's pull a card for the year. Let's read some of these essays and kind of reflect on some of the journal prompts and plan our year ahead. Okay, so I always use the Gentle Tarot. It's my favorite. Oh my gosh, no way. Okay, so this card just flew out. If you're watching, it's the Hermit card. It's a little fox, one of my favorite animals. I love this deck because there's more animals. It's, created by an indigenous artist from Alaska, and the connection to the animals and the natural world and the representation is just so healing. So this is my favorite deck to use. The Hermit, nestled in his little den. You can see the stars reflecting, and just incorporating the natural world with understanding the turning inward, looking for a deeper meaning, introspection, solitude, intuitive guidance. Going inward with the Hermit. Inside the Hermit's den, images of the cosmos are etched on the walls. He can speak to the cosmic forces from inside his home. Under the earth, a part of you desires a deeper connection with the whole. It is not just stars that we are looking at when we gaze into outer space. We are also those stars. Let their light guide you. So I'm just obsessed with this deck. How beautiful, this book, Heal Yourself, Heal the Earth, the Gentle Tarot. I always link the artist's Instagram. I think they have a couple of other decks and oracle decks. So everyone I talk to ends up getting this deck. I'm such a fan. So I'll read a bit more. Deep down, we all crave connection to our origin the same way we crave an unconditional loving kindness found there. The Hermit invites you to give yourself the personal space you need to go inward. The Hermit says there are many blessings in solitude. Oftentimes, the world around us makes us feel guilty for taking time for ourselves. Let's let all of that go, take a long bath, and sit with a candle. Do nothing. Remember how to be with yourself. Rekindle the friendship with how to be with yourself. Much can come from retreating and surrendering. Enjoy what comes from it. Give yourself the space you need by honoring ourselves, by going within and tending to the light inside. Only the lamp for can we hold the lamp for others. I love that idea of holding the lamp for others. That's something that comes up for me a lot as a 12th house sun. Some of those hidden houses, having your luminary there, it can feel like taking alternative paths and holding the lamp for others. I literally want to get a lamp tattooed on me. I love that. I even worked for designing and manufacturing lamps. That's a story for another time. Healing with the Hermit rituals. There's a lot of different ways to connect with the Hermit. Some journal prompts to consider are: what spiritual gifts must I focus on now? How can I develop my spiritual gifts? How can I trust myself more? What unknown venture is it time to begin? What gifts does the unknown have for me? What is the next step I can take? Write down the path you would like. So maybe it looks like pulling some cards, building a relationship with your guides. This being a 9-year, what are we ending? What house do you have, Virgo? What placements? The next card we got is the Moon. The Moon is one of my favorite cards. She shows herself whenever we're embarking on a journey that we're unsure of, and we might be scared because, in the dark, when we see shadows, it's easy for your mind to play tricks on you and, for disillusion to creep in. And so the Moon represents this kind of path inward. The Moon represents the patterns and cycles, the reflection, the divine guidance protecting us. And so I love it because it shows that while we are scared and we don't know what's next, we are divinely guided and protected, and there's something bigger than what we can see. So what's your relationship to things that we can't necessarily see? There's a trust, there's a surrender necessary and valid. It's scary, I'm with you. The Moon journal prompts. How can I work with the darker aspects of my thoughts and feelings in order to move forward? How can I work with my shadow self? How can I tune into my psychic abilities? What are my dreams presenting to me at this time? The moon represents a sensitive dreaminess element, looking to our root of our feelings, looking to the moon and this watery card. How do we invite in the elements and our imagination and our psychic abilities and inspiration and spend time tending to that vision? What does it feel like? Here are some really good journal prompts for the Hermit. What higher teachings are being presented to me at this time? How can I connect with my spiritual nature? How can I surround myself with like-minded people? So community is what sustained our ancestors. I'm so excited to be in community with so many of you. So pulling both of these cards for the journal to kind of etch, this planner says draw your interpretation of your card of the year, draw your interpretation of the Hermit card, draw your interpretation of the moon, the Hermit's teacher, or whatever other archetypes or energies that hope to be a guide throughout the year. Interpretations, thoughts of your card of the year, and cards of the year for 2025. I'm obsessed with that, but how brilliant that these two cards are what just popped out for us together. And like, if you're watching it, like, I hope that you saw that. So I think it's just cool, whether it's like intuitively, I thought we were just going to pull cards and let them guide us for the year, but they're the literal cards, thinking about numerology and thinking of some of the themes of 2025. The Hermit, the Moon, definitely guides for us. So they can be cards that we journal about, share interpretations. I'll definitely reflect upon that, maybe in a ritual for me, like in the bath or something where I feel comfortable. You can reflect on how these show up for you in your chart, your house of Virgo, your moon. I really love the essays and the overviews and the tarot prompts and journal prompts. The first one, looking at January for the month ahead, says Back to Basics Tarot Spread. Card 1, what my body needs most right now. Card 2, what my mind needs most right now. Card 3, what my spirit needs most right now. 4, what my life needs most right now. 5, what to make a priority right now. 6, what the world most needs from me right now. I just really like the idea of pulling some cards and journaling, looking at the month ahead, thinking about the next lunation. Right now the moon's in Scorpio, and I love that. For me, with my whole chart being in Scorpio, it's a great time for me to focus on the podcast and the Patreon and working in my little den, like my little fox friend here. Where is Scorpio for you? For me, it's my 12th house, so it is hidden. Keeping in mind the moon's about to go into Sagittarius, and that's my first house, more visible. I have pop-ups, so I kind of plan that accordingly, right? But just looking at where the moon is for you right now when you're watching this, and where your moon is in your birth chart, what might be coming for that sign. So let me know what sign it is, and we can think about the planets that might be entering new signs. Like example, an Aries moon. Saturn is moving into Aries this year, so that's going to impact your moon. So that's definitely a theme to focus on and work with and reflect upon. So thinking about your chart, let's explore the year ahead's transits. So we mentioned the nodes just moved into Virgo and Pisces. The nodes are where eclipses happen. That's going to be where the eclipses happen going forward. We have one more in Aries, but then fully Virgo, Pisces access eclipse season for 18 months. So March and September will be eclipse season for us. March, it's also important to consider that Venus and Mercury are going to be retrograde during that time. So lots to reflect upon for March. Keeping that in mind as we think about the whole year, March and April show to be a bit more chaotic, a bit more interesting. How do we plan accordingly? How do we self-soothe? How do we make those safe places to go inward to sustain ourselves? What is our body and mind and all of these, different, how do we keep balance within? What does balance look like right now? There's a need to come back to your roots, to come back to your den, to come back to your vision, to come back to what you need. So reflecting on important to then be able to show up in community with nature and in service, alchemizing, transmuting what we're going through collectively, organizing, supporting each other. Building strength, one of my goals. So let me know what your goals are as we plan the year ahead, but these are the transits to keep in mind. So Pluto just entered Aquarius. It's a 20-year transit. Aquarius is going to unfold. We've never experienced Pluto in Aquarius before. So Pluto brings transformation, death, and rebirth, and this connection to powerful people, powerful resources. In Aquarius, it can be technological advances. So I think there's a lot to work with. Looking at your chart, what placements do you have in Aquarius? They're activated. What house do you have Aquarius? There's going to be transformation here for the next 20 years. You can reflect on your house of Capricorn, where Pluto moved through since 2008, and think about all the change and transformation that happened in that house for you. Think about your personal placements and how that impacts the story. So I've considered this to be like a book, a book from 2008 to last November 20th of 2024. And now we're in this next book from November 20th of 2024 till 2044. And so, big book. But I like the idea of Aquarius because Aquarius is the star card. It's hope, renewal, spiritual quest. And whereas Capricorn in tarot is the devil card, there's materialism, addictions, oppressive patriarchal systems. And so I like the book we're in now. It is very revolutionary. Every time Pluto is in Aquarius, there's a lot of revolutionary action. So we can reflect on like the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, the American Revolution, the Industrial Revolution. So reflecting on revolutions is important to consider where we're at now for the next 20 years. And then moving in from Pluto, we consider Neptune. Neptune is going from Pisces, where it's been since 2011, and to Aries. And so Aries and Pisces are drastically different, from Pisces' dreamy water, where Neptune has its dignity, its rulership in modern astrology, and then Neptune goes into Aries, where a different energy. Aries is ruled by Mars, it's the warrior. So there's this collective energy of, becoming a warrior. And I think maybe we all are on some level, but it ignites it. It brings it to the surface. Working with your house of Aries, what shows up for you, working with your Mars, how do you show up as a warrior? We all do it in different ways, but taking action, expressing yourself. I think about the plants that work with Mars, like nettles, to work with inflammation and courage. And it's also important to consider, well, who else is in Aries? Saturn's going to go into Aries too. So that's, not Neptune alone, but Saturn and Neptune unfolding a journey, a story in Aries, the start of this hero's journey, right? And then we consider Uranus. Uranus is going from Taurus, where it's been since like 2018. Uranus is going into Gemini. And so we can look at our charts. What Gemini placements do we have? What house do we have Gemini? That's going to embark on this, big journey, maybe a 7-year journey in Uranus. And I think about the transits, right? So if Uranus goes into Gemini, that's going to trine, because Gemini is air, Aquarius is air. That's 120 degrees away from each other. They trine each other. It's a harmonious flow of energy. So maybe our intentions, our goals, with Gemini and Aquarius, they can bridge, they can work together, they can reach goals. And so working with your chart and working with your goals, working with your personal placements here, it's going to look differently to us all, but there's an opportunity to build a connection to your ancestors and to what that looks like in the natural world, in the practical world, in your daily life, with your daily rituals. So this is the Radical Self-Care Ritual deck. So let's see what that looks like. Coming back into self, body, our roots, connecting with these planets. So we got take a walk, positive affirmations, sound healing, connecting with fire. So lots of cards fell out, so maybe we can explore what those look like in a couple different longer form videos on my Patreon. We got positive affirmations. So this is my affirmation oracle deck. The card we got is I am focused. I am focused on achieving my goals through deliberate actions, I take time to feel how it would feel to achieve my dreams. I visualize my desires through a lens of love and happiness. I am focused. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's connect on social media. Feel free to check out my website, book a reading with me, my membership on Patreon. So lots of ways to connect. Thank you, thank you, thank you.